Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at newsletters.
Newsletter.
You want your message to reach people, right? I mean, that's why we're all here.
Absolutely.
Not just get lost in the noise, And I feel like newsletters might just be our secret weapon.
It's a direct line to your audience.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so powerful about newsletters is that you're not relying on algorithms or the whims of social media.
Yeah, it's not like, you post something and then it's just gone.
Right.
And no one ever sees it again.
You own that connection with your audience.
Yeah. So we have this incredible guide on creating amazing newsletters that we'll be going over today.
Yes.
And we're also going to be taking a look at this really interesting new tool called Letterman AI.
Very cool.
And they've created this sample newsletter that I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's all about the beauty of Cape Cod.
It's beautifully done.
Yeah. And we'll give you a link later on so you can check it out for yourself.
Awesome.
Back to basics.
Back to basics. What this guide really emphasizes is the importance of knowing your audience.
Absolutely.
Like really knowing your audience.
It is the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah. And it's not just like the demographics, right?
No. You have to go deeper than that.
Yeah.
Their needs, their desires, their pain points.
Yeah. What are they struggling with?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The guide talks about this idea of building a detailed picture of your ideal reader or their avatar.
Your avatar.
Yeah. So, for example, like let's say you're targeting new parents.
Okay. Yeah.
They're probably overwhelmed with information.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What are they looking for? They want simple, trustworthy advice.
Yeah. Actionable tips, product recommendations.
Right. Like what kind of diaper should I use? What is this rack? Exactly. Or even just the reassurance that they're not alone.
Yeah.
In the craziness that is raising a newborn.
Yeah. And once you understand your audience,
then you can determine the tone and style of your newsletter.
Right. Like, is it going to be super formal and informative, or is it going to be kind of casual and friendly?
Exactly. Or even humorous.
Yeah.
You know what?
It all depends.
It really sets the stage for everything else you do.
Yeah.
Your content, your design, your calls to action.
Makes total sense.
All stems from understanding that ideal reader.
Right. The guide also talks about setting clear goals for your newsletter.
Yes. This is so important.
What are you hoping to achieve with this thing?
Yes. Ask yourself, am I trying to build brand awareness, share company news, directly sell products?
Right. So, educate your audience.
Yes. Be a thought leader.
Provide those expert insights.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a random thing.
No. It should be strategic.
Yeah. And speaking of the content itself.
Yes.
The guide really pushes this KISS principle, which is keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. Think of it like you're putting together a magazine, right? So you have your cover story, it's your main article, in-depth and valuable. And then you have all of those shorter, engaging pieces.
Right.
The sidebars, the quick tips, the fun facts.
So, like, for example, your main article could be about, sustainable living.
Sure, yeah.
And then sprinkled throughout, there's like a recipe using seasonal produce.
That's a great idea.
Or it's like a quick DIY project or a spotlight on a local business that is eco-conscious.
Exactly. And don't forget customer testimonials.
Yeah.
Those can be so powerful for building credibility and making people feel like they're part of a community.
Yeah.
And then, of course, your calls to action.
So important.
What do you want the reader to do after reading your newsletter?
Right.
Sign up for a webinar.
Yeah.
Check out a new product.
Share the newsletter with a friend.
Yes, exactly. Making that call to action clear and engaging.
That's key.
That's key.
So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about design and branding.
Yep.
How do you make your newsletter look good and reflect your own unique style?
The key is consistency.
Yeah.
Think of your brand as a person, right?
Yeah.
They have a personality. It shows up in everything they do, the clothes they wear, the way they talk.
The way they talk, yeah.
And your newsletter's design,
right.
The header, the colors, the fonts should all feel like an extension of that personality.
Right.
So when someone sees your newsletter in their inbox, they know exactly who it's from and what to expect.
Yeah. So it's like instant recognition.
Instant recognition.
Yeah.
When choosing colors and fonts, think about readability.
Yeah.
You want your newsletter to be easy on the eyes and accessible to everyone, especially people who might be reading on their phones during their commute.
You know what else the guide talks about?
What's that?
Mobile friendliness.
Absolutely.
A clean, simple layout makes each section stand out.
Yes.
So it looks good no matter what you're reading it on.
It's all about creating that enjoyable reading experience.
Right.
Nobody wants to be squinting at tiny text or scrolling endlessly.
Sure.
You want to keep it clean and simple.
For sure.
So we were just talking about making your newsletter easy and enjoyable to read.
Right.
Which brings us to the writing itself.
The actual writing.
The actual writing.
Yeah, so the guide really dives deep into this, and especially like that crucial first impression, the subject line.
The subject line.
It's the gateway to your newsletter.
Yes.
So how do you make it so irresistible that people just have to click?
Think of it like a movie trailer.
Okay.
You want to pique their curiosity, but you don't want to give the whole plot away.
Right.
It should be punchy, intriguing, make them think, I got to see what's inside.
Okay.
So no clickbait.
Okay, so not clickbait, but definitely something that makes you want to click.
Exactly.
They've opened it up. Now, how do you keep them hooked?
That's where providing real value comes in. The guide recommends keeping each section tight and focused.
Right.
You know, just give people the good stuff without making them wade through this wall of text.
Right, because let's be honest, we're all busy.
We're all busy.
You know, people are scanning their inboxes. They don't have a ton of time.
Absolutely.
So how do you make sure that your content can be digested, even if they're just skimming?
And writing like you're talking to a friend can make all the difference.
Yeah.
That conversational tone, using you and your, helps create that personal connection.
Right.
Like you're sharing these insights directly with them.
It's like we're just sitting down, having a cup of coffee, chatting about whatever.
Exactly.
Much more inviting than like a formal lecture, right?
More inviting. And then don't forget about hyperlinks, right?
Hyperlinks, yes.
Like instead of cramming every single detail into the newsletter itself,
Right.
you kind of give people a taste.
A little taste.
And then if they want to go deeper, they can click.
Let them explore further, yes.
Yeah.
So you're providing this kind of curated experience, guiding them to additional resources, articles, maybe even products.
All seamlessly woven into the content.
Yeah. Seamlessly woven. I like that.
Seamlessly woven.
So earlier we touched on this AI tool, Letterman.
Yes.
And I'm curious how that kind of ties in with what we've been talking about.
What's so exciting about Letterman is that it takes so much of the guesswork out of creating a newsletter.
Right.
Especially for someone who's just starting out.
Right.
All the stuff we've been talking about, the design, the layout.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
You can feel
Like, where do I even begin?
Exactly.
But Letterman gives you the tools and the guidance to create something that looks professional and polished.
Even if you're a complete newbie.
Right.
You know?
That's what's so cool about it.
And this beauty of Cape Cod sample is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's visually stunning. It's really well laid out. The content is super engaging. And the kicker is anyone can create something like that using Letterman.
It really blows my mind. Like these new AI tools.
They're amazing.
They're making things that used to be so difficult or require like specialized skills.
Absolutely.
They're making it accessible to everybody.
It's really democratizing the creative process.
I love that.
It really levels the playing field.
So now it's not just, big media companies or people with a ton of resources.
Exactly.
Anyone can create a newsletter that looks and feels professional.
Anyone.
It's incredibly empowering.
It's very empowering.
And speaking of visuals,
yes,
the guide also talks about how important it is to incorporate them.
Absolutely.
So, images, icons, even GIFs to really make your newsletter pop.
Visuals are more than just decoration.
Yeah.
They can grab attention, convey information really quickly, and even evoke emotion.
Right.
Think about how a powerful photograph can instantly make you feel something.
Right.
It really adds to the experience.
Yeah. And they also help to break up the text, right?
Yes, absolutely. No one wants to stare at a wall of words, no matter how interesting they are.
Yeah, even if it's the best content ever.
Exactly.
It's like you need to give your eyes a break.
You need a break.
And visuals help to add that visual interest.
And even more than that, visuals can really communicate your brand's personality.
Yeah.
Are you playful and colorful?
Yeah.
Elegant and minimalist?
Right.
These visual cues can reinforce your brand identity.
Yeah.
Creating a consistent experience for your audience.
It's like all the pieces fitting together.
It all comes together.
To tell a complete story.
To tell a story.
So we've talked about design, the writing, visuals.
Yes.
What about the more technical side of things?
Oh, yes.
The guide talks a lot about testing and previewing your newsletter before you hit send.
This is a crucial step that so many people skip.
Right.
You have to make sure your newsletter looks the way you intended it to.
Yeah.
Across different devices, email providers.
Yeah, because what looks perfect on your computer screen
could be completely jumbled on someone's phone.
I know. I've definitely had that experience where you open an email and it's just like...
a mess.
A mess.
Yeah.
It's completely unreadable.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all.
Not at all.
So, yeah, before you send your newsletter out into the world...
test it.
Test it.
Send it to yourself. Send it to a few friends.
Right.
Make sure everything looks the way it's supposed to, that all the links work.
Yeah.
That there are no typos.
Yeah.
It's worth taking that extra time.
Like giving your masterpiece one final polish.
Exactly.
Before you present it to the world.
Yes.
So it's out there, it's sent.
It's sent.
The work's not over it.
Oh.
Now it's time to analyze and learn.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
It's time to dive into the data.
Yeah.
And see how your newsletter performed.
Okay.
How many people opened it? What did they click on? This data gives you valuable insights into what resonates with your audience.
So you're not just sending information out into the void.
No.
You're getting feedback.
You're getting feedback.
On what works, what doesn't.
Exactly. Which helps you refine your strategy for future newsletters.
Right.
Maybe you notice that people are really clicking on links related to a specific topic.
Yeah.
That's a signal to create more content around that topic.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want, right.
Or you notice a certain type of subject line gets way more opens.
That's valuable information.
Right.
Very valuable.
So it's like you're having this conversation with your readers through the data.
Exactly.
They're telling you what they like.
Yes.
What they want more of.
They're telling you.
And you can use that information to make your newsletter even better.
That's the beauty of newsletters.
Yeah.
They're constantly evolving. You're always learning, experimenting, finding new ways to connect with your audience.
Always improving.
Always improving.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into all things newsletters.
Newsletters galore.
Newsletters galore.
Yes.
We've covered a lot of ground, you know.
We have.
From understanding the audience to crafting the content.
The design.
The visuals, analyzing the data.
All the things.
But I want to kind of bring it all back around to one of the most exciting things that we talked about, and that is Letterman.
Yes, Letterman.
And what I think is so fascinating about this tool is that it makes it possible for anyone to create a really professional quality newsletter.
Absolutely.
And I think the beauty of Cape Cod Sample really proves that point.
It's a great example.
It's beautiful. The content's great.
And it's all built using Letterman.
Yeah. And it's like anyone can do this.
That's the beauty of it.
You don't need a design team.
Nope.
You don't need coding skills.
None of that.
It's right there at your fingertips.
It's really a game changer.
It really is.
More voices can be heard, more stories shared.
I love that.
More people can connect with their audience.
And speaking of connection, you know, the guide really emphasizes the importance of consistency when it comes to newsletters.
Yes.
It's not just a one-off thing, right?
Not at all.
It's like, you've got to think of it like tending a garden.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You can't just like plant some seeds and then just walk away.
No, you got to nurture it.
You got to nurture it.
You got to give it attention.
Water it, give it sunlight.
Exactly.
And your newsletter needs that same kind of consistent love.
Consistent love.
To grow and thrive.
So send it out on a regular schedule.
Right, so like weekly, bi-weekly, monthly.
Yeah, it works for you and your audience.
Yeah, whatever makes sense.
But be consistent.
Yeah, because that builds trust.
It builds trust, builds anticipation.
The readers know what to expect, when to expect it.
And just as important as consistency.
Yeah.
Is engagement.
Engagement, right?
Respond to comments, acknowledge feedback.
Yeah.
Make your readers feel like they're part of a conversation.
Right, like it's a two-way street.
It's a community.
Yeah, it's like you're building a community.
Around your newsletter.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Never be afraid to experiment.
Like try new things.
See what works.
Fix up the content.
Absolutely.
See what resonates with your audience.
It's a platform for testing different ideas.
Yeah, and finding your own unique voice.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's all about finding what works best for you and your audience.
Yeah.
And constantly evolving and growing.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
That's one of the coolest things about it, you know?
It's a dynamic medium.
It's always changing.
Always evolving.
And with tools like Letterman, the possibilities are really endless.
The possibilities are endless.
So if you're feeling inspired
to start your own newsletter.
Give your existing one a refresh.
Yes.
Go check out that Beauty of Cape Cod sample.
It's a great place to start.
It's a beautiful example
of what can be achieved.
And the key to all of this
is
to provide genuine value to your readers. Share your insights. Tell captivating stories. Give helpful advice.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
That's the most important thing.
Because people connect with authenticity.
They do.
So go out there, share your message with the world.
And watch your newsletter flourish.
Watch it flourish. We hope this deep dive gave you the knowledge and the inspiration
to get started.
Thanks for joining us.